Jacktown. We're here. Again. Give me just a second. Get my life together. All right. What is going on, everyone? Crystal, Clay, Birdie. We've added a third host tonight. She actually runs the house, so she got tired of not participating in the show. That's so funny. Man, look, let's jump in. Start with our sponsors. Our good friends out at USA Pawn. 6 metro area locations. McDowell Road. Woodrow Wilson. Ellis Avenue. Pearl. Canton. Vicksburg. The Pearl store took a direct hit last night. Somebody ran off the road and hit the building back on the warehouse side. They are still open, didn't miss a beat. And, there's been jewelry stores around here that have taken a lot more damage and have a sale. So, which those are good friends of mine. I love them too. But, so USA Pawn, wide open. They're your place for guns, gold, jewelry, silver, TVs, flat screens, computers, game systems, and more. And of course, it's a pawn shop, so you can get your loans. Check them out at usapawn.com. The gym at Byram always have a special going. They are waiving the joining fee this month, so go check them out. If you sign up for a personal training ordeal, you get 2 additional training sessions, which is huge. Huge. Give them a call at 601-372-2229. Check them out at thegym@byram.com, and they're on social media, the gym at Byram. Give Danny White a call. It's father and son Southern Lawncare. 601-301-3210. That is father and son Southern Lawncare. 601-301-3210. All these numbers. Wait until 9:30 to go live. It's starting to take its toll on me. So look, be sure to check us out. Our podcast is available on all major podcast outlets: iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, iHeart, all of them. Just search Save JXN. It'll come right up. It's available every Saturday morning. We're also live on 103.9 WYAB every Saturday morning, starting back this Saturday morning. We got preempted by the LSU game last week. All right, we will go over all that again throughout the show. So let's get started. 104 homicides on October 14th. We woke up today with, well, depending on when you got the news, 102. Then we had 103 and 104 in one fell swoop, as they were victims of a house fire, an intentional house fire. And let's see, I got the story pulled up here. Jackson police have launched a homicide investigation after 2 people were found dead in a house fire. The Jackson Fire Department was called a little before 2 a.m. Wednesday to Way and Kennington Streets. According to Jackson Fire Department Division Chief Cleotha Sanders, neighbors told firefighters who were putting out the blaze that a couple could be inside the home. I was laying in bed and saw some lights flashing through the windows. I got up and saw that the neighbors down the street's house was on fire. Neighbor Vidia Gray said. Jackson police said at least one of the people had suffered a gunshot wound, or gunshot wounds, plural. The second could not yet be determined. Both are being investigated as homicides. The couple's landlord said they had lived in the home less than a year. Hinds County coroner said it will take a few days to identify the bodies using dental records and DNA. Man, just another day in fabulous Jackson, Mississippi. Chokways, Jackson. The most radical city in America. How's that working out? I don't know what's worse. Being the most radical city in America under Chokwe and Lumumba, or the nonsense going on with all of our elected officials in Hinds County.
Yeah.
Between the city council, the board of supervisors. Is there an honest, and I'm saying this seriously. I mean, somebody help me here. Do we have a legitimate good person in local politics that you can say, man, amongst all the BS, they're really a good person despite what you may think publicly? Mm-hmm. You know, they're really got Jackson's best interest at heart. I don't believe we do. If we do, I don't see it. The two that I had the most respect for have both, one has just won a special election in Decatur Stamps, and the other, Melvin Priester, has just stepped down. So those were the two that I've talked to Decatur several times. He seems like a great guy, and I wish him nothing but the best. Hate to lose him on the city council. And then Priester, we have some mutual friends, believe it or not. And they speak very highly of him. But even with that said, I just don't know. I mean, what are we doing? All these people have been on the city council, guiding the ship to through one of the worst eras in the history of the city.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So you can be a good person and ride the Titanic to the bottom. I'm serious. I mean, anybody that watches this show, can you tell me somebody that is an elected official, not somebody that the city's hired, somehow made a good hire on accident? Is there an elected official here in Hinds County that is legitimately doing their job? And let me rephrase that. I want to remove the mayors of Clinton and Byram and some of these places out of that mix. I'm referring to Hinds County Board of Supervisors, Jackson Mayor, and the Jackson City Council.
B.J. Lambert says good folks don't want to be associated with that.
You know, and BJ's got a great point. A great point. I don't know if y'all could hear Crystal or not, but they say that good folks don't want a part of this. And the more I entrench myself into this, the more I realize that is the case. Because what good comes from it? You know, look at our president, for instance. A guy that was praised by Democrats and African Americans his whole life, given NAACP awards, everything. The second he came down that escalator as a conservative...
Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton.
The second he came down that escalator as a conservative, all the race baiters called him a racist.
They did.
You know, why would anybody with a lick of sense run for anything in this city when all the race baiters and pimping preachers are just going to come out and... These folks are more concerned about Coach Prime than they are having a primetime mayor. They can do anything. Mm-hmm. That's all I see in this city. And I'm excited about Coach Prime coming. I mean, this is nothing against him. But it just shows the city taking its eye off the ball. It's like, no, Coach Prime meeting with the leaders in the streets. Coach Prime doing this. Coach Prime is going to be here for a year, maybe two, and on to the next one. And he is a football coach, not an elected official that has anything to do with our day-to-day lives.
Right.
You know, what the hell are we talking about? Cool, man. I hope they put 50, 60,000 people in every stadium, in every game at the stadium. But what the hell has Coach Prime got to do with 104 murders today? I need to go back and look. But since the meeting of the streets with Coach Prime, I think we've had 15 or 20 homicides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they ain't got the memo yet to quit killing each other.
Brent brought up Benny Thompson.
Benny Thompson ain't shit. Tell him I said it. You know, sits up there in his mansion, ruling over the lower class. Benny Thompson is the Mississippi version of Maxine Waters. Sits in his mansion, rules over his minions, tells everybody what they need to do, and he doesn't. Benny ain't shit. You know, just like all these other do-nothing Democrats in the state. And every time I cut on my TV, I see Mike Espy. Can't tell you anything he's doing, but all I hear is about Cindy Hyde-Smith saying something about lynching. I don't care. I'm voting for Cindy Hyde-Smith. Actually, I'm voting red straight down the board in the upcoming election.
Harley asked, is it just full of corruption, or is it incompetent police officers, or do people just not care?
It's an elixir of all of it, but I refuse to put the blame on the rank and file police. Mm-hmm. I really do. You won't. I know too many good ones.
Yeah.
You know, and I have too much interaction with too many good rank and file police. You just won't ever get me to say it. Maybe I'm blinded a little. Maybe I have a bias. I've got friends over there. I've got guys over there that don't like me, but I respect them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good police officers. So, but think of it like this. You know, I've used this analogy a few times. You know, there's a lot of us who have worked in places for terrible managers. Mm-hmm. And we're like, screw this job. I'm going to put the least amount of effort in possible in hopes of getting them fired. If I don't sell enough cars, it'll make them look bad, or whatever the case may be. You know, or you just quit and go find another job because you're better than sandbagging. You know, but I get it, man. I understand the frustration within JPD, and yeah, are there some bad cops? Absolutely. You know, I mean, yeah. You know, there's people who are just doing it for a paycheck. Sure, but
there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. I still, in my heart of hearts, believe that law enforcement is a calling, just like nursing. Mm-hmm. It's a calling. It takes a certain kind of person to want to put their life on the line for, especially in police. No knock on nursing, but in police, you're going into it being hated by more people than loved, at least that you're trying to protect. Mm-hmm. And the pay's not that great most places, especially starting out. You know, at least with nursing, the public perception is a little different. You know, like nurses save lives. Police save lives too.
For sure.
You know, and I don't see a whole lot of police trying to scare people to death with COVID nonsense either, like some of the nursing going on around here, but that's another conversation for another day. See, Cindy says, my cousin Ricky McMillan runs a tight ship over in Flowood. Yeah, Cindy, all of those, and this is not discounting your cousin here, but a lot of those Rankin County and county, when I say county, I just mean outside of Jackson.
Right.
Police departments are very tight. Dean Scott runs a tight ship. And there's people Dean's had controversies that have followed him around, but he runs a tight ship. You know, you ain't going to Pearl messing up. Mm-mm. You ain't going to Brandon messing up. You're not going to Flowood. You damn sure ain't going to Flowood messing up. I'm going to tell you, Flowood is underrated as is the F around and find out city in central Mississippi. Those Flowood cops F around and find out because they don't play. They know how to get in that blind spot in your car riding down Lakeland, and you get a half a mile over the speed limit, you're gonna see them blue lights. Mm-hmm. I'm like, where in the hell did those come from? Did they just fall out of the sky? And I like that. As I've gotten older, now that I literally do nothing wrong publicly, you know, mm-hmm. I like that. I like knowing when I ride through Flowood and Pearl and Brandon that for all intents and purposes, I'm safe.
Yeah.
You know, unless I do something stupid, right. Which I think that most people will agree that it goes back to just self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
self-responsibility, my life, my choices.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me put everything in my control, whether it's wearing a mask, driving down the road, or anything else. Self-responsibility. You know,
Mike says Clinton used to be like that.
Yeah, Clinton did, and look, Clinton may have a problem with growing faster with the wrong crowd than it needs to, and maybe not have the right amount of, you know, Clinton, when WorldCom left and a lot of that higher end income left with it, it took a little while. And Clinton's still doing good. To be as close to West Jackson as Clinton is, it's a lot like Byram.
Mm-hmm.
South Jackson eventually bled into Byram. West Jackson bleeds into Clinton, especially there on the backside going up North Side and Clinton Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it happens. I don't think that is a reflection upon the police department, because when I go through Clinton to the bank to cash my check every Friday, or deposit my check, should I say, Clinton PD ain't playing. They are always got somebody hemmed up, and they don't pull cars over by themselves. You know, they're not getting tricked. So I don't know, but I don't live in Clinton, so I don't want to tell you. I don't want to overly speak on it, but from what I see with Clinton, they seem to do a great job, and they got a mayor who's not scared to do what he has to do, and I do respect him.
Harley asked, in your opinion, why do you think the crime rate is so high in Jackson? Is it mostly gang related, or what are the motives for these senseless acts of violence?
Okay, so what is my opinion on the reason, the core issue of crime in Jackson? And I think I've thought about this a lot. And Jackson does have a gang problem. It's not as public as what you would think. You know, if you go back and you think about gangs in Los Angeles and MS-13 and Vice Lords and Crips and all that. Gangs in Jackson are very neighborhood centric. You know, it's like, what neighborhood are you from? What's your set? You know, what when they say what hood you're from, they're talking about what neighborhood. The Queens, Subs, 1, 2, South Jackson. You know, all the different neighborhoods. You know, you can have neighborhoods side by side that are absolutely at war with each other. So yeah, there is a lot of that, and it's a lot of it's driven by the drug trade. A lot of it is this is as ridiculous as this sounds. It's rappers battling with each other, you know.
Or street cred.
Yeah, street cred. Jackson can't stand to see another MFer have anything. If you come up in Jackson and you got just a little bit more than the next guy, they want it. And if killing you is the way they're gonna get it, or at least keep you from having it, they're gonna do it. I've seen it too much over the years. Some people can call me out, tell me I'm lying, tell me I'm wrong. Man, I owned a club on Capitol Street for 10 years. You can stick your head in the sand and deny it all you want. That's the fact. Jackson can't stand to see another MFer have anything. And they will kill you to keep you from having it, even if they can't have it. And that jealousy is a huge problem in Jackson. But that doesn't necessarily answer the question you asked. In Jackson, to me, it goes back to we've had way too many single parent households where there's not another
being raised by their grandparents.
Yeah, if that. You know, there's so many of these kids who have zero positive influence. They don't have two parents in the house. I heard some crippling statistics today. I'm going to recommend a good podcast to y'all. I listened to it today, and I was hesitant to open my arms back up and let this woman back in the conservative circles. But she has come back, kicked the door wide open, and has come out with two really good podcasts here lately. Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly, her podcast is free. She interviewed Candace Owens today. Or maybe it was yesterday, but I listened to it today.
I love Candace.
I cannot recommend a podcast enough for y'all to go listen to Megyn Kelly's podcast with Candace Owens. And they talk about, you know, in depth, some of the stuff going on in cities like Jackson, in the African American urban communities, and and who's at fault, and why commenting on it isn't allowed by anybody outside of that community. And it was a very intriguing conversation between two really intelligent people. So take your thoughts on Megyn Kelly after the presidential debate in 2016 out of it, and I think you will really, really enjoy it. And she also did another really good interview with Mark Cuban and put him on blast over the NBA's relationship with China, their falling ratings, LeBron being a crestfallen star. Some really good stuff.
Christy said, I only had one parent in the house. That's no excuse if the parent is doing her part, teaching and raising those kids.
No, absolutely about one parent not being an excuse. That is, I'm not blaming it on overall one parent, but there's a lot of these one parents are terrible one parents. If they had another parent in the house, most of them would be terrible two parents. They're people who shouldn't be having children. But so I don't know what you do there. You can't make people not have babies, but maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing. I don't know. I mean, neuter some people, but you can't do that. I'm being facetious. Y'all don't wear me out on that. It's a terrible thing. What do you do? Babies are having babies that don't need to have babies. Mm-hmm. They're not. It's just into the system. 3-4 baby daddies, for one single mother, and she ain't stayed with a single one of them. It's reproducing faster than you can educate, and you're rewarding a lot of people with the way the welfare system is set up and the tax code and stuff to sit back and be a baby factory. Now, to a lot of us that get up and go to work every day, that we can't wrap our heads around how living on such a minimal income can be remotely satisfying. But to a lot of these folks, it's enough to keep them off the streets and allows them to do their side hustles and get that government check every month, sell dope, whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, if y'all saw some of the stuff I did every day, you wouldn't even have these questions. It is a big hustle going on in the streets of Jackson. Which that brings me to another thought that I don't have written down. It's not on my notes. Something I've been thinking about a lot lately. So I get bashed and wore out and called a racist and a lover of negativity and purveyor of hate and all these things for simply pointing out the obvious. That Jackson is a hellhole. There's a lot of crime, and it's one of the worst hoods in America. So I get on YouTube. Y'all know this story. I've told it to you before. I get on YouTube all the time, and I just search Jackson, Mississippi. I look through it at least once a day to see what's new. And all the time, I get local rap videos that pop up from local rappers. And all they do is ride around, show the same blowed out ass, burn up buildings that I do, brag about how deadly. They don't complain about how deadly it is. They brag about how deadly it is. Mm-hmm. And how trap it is. My hood is worse than your hood, like it's a badge of honor. And they're glorified for it. And white liberals make the excuse of, well, they're just a product of their environment. They're just a product of their environment. It's their artistic outlet. Mm-hmm. Well, can I not say the same thing? I live here, born and raised here, work here, drive through here every day, take pictures of it, take videos of it, and complain about how bad it is. As my artistic outlet.
Right.
Am I just a product of my environment? Or am I not allowed to use that because I'm a white conservative? I'm just a product of my environment. Except I see it as an issue, not a badge of honor. Mm-hmm. And you go read the comments on some of these YouTube videos of people patting these folks on the back and bragging about them. And sub 1, sub 2, whoop, whoop, whoop. Who cares? Jack, I see folks get mad as hell when people call Jackson Jackganistan in the WLBT comments. Mm-hmm. But there's rappers around here with albums called Jackganistan, and it's okay. There's some rapper around here calls himself something Bin Laden.
What?
Yeah. I mean, his stage name is like Elijah Bin Laden or Eli Bin Laden or some crap like that. You don't use that name, not in America.
Mm-mm.
You know. I was saying, man, look, I love rap, and this ain't an attack on them.
Right.
You know, I don't care what they do. Use it as your artistic outlet. But just, you know, the same people who hating on me and hating on this platform because we do the exact same thing, but prop them up. I'm not going to have that anymore.
John Stringer says rap is the CNN of the streets.
Rap is the CNN of the streets. You know, and then I watch, you know, like I say, man, I get down some rabbit holes. And if you'll watch some of these cats around here get interviewed by little weird rap blogs and stuff, man, these dudes can't hardly put together a full sentence, some of them. And it just goes back to JPS education and just the whole upbringing. And it's sad. I watch it, and I don't laugh at these folks. You know, I really want to cry for them. I mean, because you just, you know, it's easy to say thugs, uneducated ass thugs. It's easy. It's so easy to say that. And a lot of times it's true. You know, but imagine growing up with nothing. You're out on the streets at 9, 10 years old running around, you know, and you're looking up to somebody 14 or 15 that ain't got no business doing it either. And they're your mentor, you know, because your parents don't care. Big mama's in the club, pee-popping on a handstand, you know. It just, I'm just saying, I mean, it's just the product of your environment.
All right.
I mean, it's all they know. A lot of these folks. And we talk about, this goes back to that question. We talk about, what do you do? You know, what is the problem? What is the one thing in Jackson? Man, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be the first person to tell you. I'm going to give you that positivity y'all all love. Ain't no saving Jackson.
Don't say that.
You can save, I'm going to say it. You can save parts of it by just overcoming it. But you can't. You have 2 or 3 generations of people who are broken. And I don't know that you can fix it.
I think when they took Jesus out of school, nobody was allowed to spank their kids anymore. You couldn't spank kids in school.
Yep.
There was no sort of fear at all.
You need corporal punishment, and you need...
None.
You need...
I mean, I know when it changed.
Yeah, well, you need corporal punishment in schools, and you need jail time on misdemeanors. At least be arrested and have to stay the night and sleep it off and get bonded out. All these ROR releases, released on recognizance, you know. And then the court system, just slaps them on the hand, tells them to go on, you know. If they violate probation, doesn't matter. They ain't going to jail. Yeah, it's just, I always talk about it. It's one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. Folks are allowed to get away with whatever they want to do. And there's no real there's no real repercussions.
Yeah, but we all have a part in it. I mean, we talk about this generation that, you know, are pretty sad, in my opinion. But we raised it. So what happened?
I don't know. I mean,
I know what happened. They took Jesus out of school. We were told that we were not allowed to whoop our children. Everybody got a trophy at the ball field, whether you were any good or not. You got on the team, whether you were any good or not. Like, none of that is good.
Oh yeah, the trophies.
Ugh.
The participation awards. You know, I associate the participation awards way more with white liberalism. let's talk about that. I've been bottling this stuff up for a little bit. We're gonna get on national politics for a second. White liberals, in particular, love to call everybody that disagrees with anything that they agree with a racist. Racist, 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 racist. Everybody's a racist. That's not a white liberal. Those same white liberals have hijacked the Black Lives Matter movement, merged it with Antifa, and still call it the Black Lives Matter movement. But they're the same ones that insist on telling African Americans, you can't do this without us doing it for you. Mm-hmm. You need us to tell you. Mm-hmm. If that ain't the most racist thing in the world.
It is. It's awful.
It's like, no. You're marginalized. You need us to fight for you. Mm-hmm. Man, I've said it all the time. The black folks that I grew up with that are my age don't need our help. Nah. They hardworking, smart, well thought out individuals.
Exactly.
They same equal opportunities that we have, and they will do equally as well as anybody else. Mm-hmm. So to insinuate that
they need somebody to,
they don't need anybody.
Come handle their business. They don't.
Given the same equal opportunities, which you will never show me that they have not had it. Maybe it's where I live and the fact that I'm in the heart of it every day. We've all got the same opportunities to do whatever we want to in this country. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you were raised by a single 15-year-old or a two-family and you weren't born, your parents were both 25, 30 years old when you were born. Mm-hmm. You've all got equal opportunity. I do understand that
there might be different
financial hardships
situations.
And, lack of extra family members. Look, I know every situation is different.
That's on every side.
Yeah. I don't want to act like there's not hardships.
Yeah, there are.
There's hardships. But that goes back to living in the right community. Having help. It takes a village to raise a baby. Anyway, I got a little off track there, but I just thought about that. It's been on my mind lately about a lot of these white liberals constantly harping about everybody's racist, but they're the racist. They're the fascist. Mm-hmm. Hollering they're anti-fascist. They are the fascist. Yeah. They're the ones telling you, how dare you not trust the government when it's the version of the government they want you to trust. Mm-hmm. COVID numbers, CDC, all that.
Right.
The second you question any of that, you get called an idiot conspiracy theorist. Mm-hmm. No. They're fascist, Marxist, and fascist. They want government to have control of every bit of your life, and they want to censor anything they don't agree with. Right. Anyway, I don't want to dive too deep into the Marxist, Antifa, fascist wormhole. We can do that all night. I can do that with the best of them. But anyway, so look, back to Jackson, and y'all comment all you want. We're reading them as we see them. I saw somebody say something about, bet y'all won't read this because it's positive. Couldn't find what your initial post was.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't either.
So send what you're claiming we won't read, and we will read it. Of course, I tell people all the time, speaking of that, this is not the page you need to come to if you're wanting positivity, rainbows and butterflies, and someone to pee on your back and tell you it's raining. There's other pages for that. Visit Jackson. Find it in Fondren. I'm sure there's some more. Those are two that come to mind. They will pump you full of rainbows and butterflies with every single post. And to each their own. That's the problem. That's what's wrong with Jackson. Folks been pumping y'all full of rainbows and butterflies and peeing on your back and telling you it's raining for too long. So that's why when somebody like this platform comes along and shows you. We don't just tell you, we show you. Get out there on the streets and we show you what's going on here. And I know I'm speaking to a very exclusive minority here, because most of y'all are smart and you know this, but it's just that one person every now and then that only comes from Madison to Fondren and back, and they don't see the rest of Jackson. That's like, oh my God, how could you talk about Jackson, JXN? I was in Fondren all day. I went and got me a JXN shirt, and I ate a big burger and a fish taco. Hashtag Jackson. Hashtag Fondren and Fondren. I get it. You know, if you're that person, you come to Fondren, you play Jackson for the day, and you go back to your $500,000 house in Madison. I ain't mad at you. I'm really not. I wish I had that level of, I don't want to say ignorance, naivety, naiveness. Is that the word I'm looking for? I wish I was that closed off from reality, and I wasn't so jaded by living in a city with 104 murders. You know, that I could just see the good in all of it.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said, Justin said, I know mothers who were very strict and their kids ended up murdering someone.
Yeah, I mean, look.
You can't control everything. I mean,
no, yeah. You can have good parents and be a screw up. Mm-hmm. I was a screw up for years and had good parents, and I got through it, and you know, woke up one day and you know, got in a good church and kind of. I mean, it didn't all start with church. I don't want to sit here and pretend that I just went to church one day and poof became a good person. You know, you gotta look in the mirror sometime and say, 99% of my problems are because of me. Mm-hmm. You're the root of your problems. You know, every now and then, like anything that's going on wrong in my life right now, I can track back to me. You know, I've gained a bunch of weight because I eat too much and don't work out as much as I need to.
I don't think we're blaming it all on the parents. It's not. It's the lack of parenting that's going on, really.
Yeah.
There's a lack of parenting, period.
It is. I mean, look, and I don't want to sit here and tell y'all I'm the best parent in the world. You know, me and my daughter fight all the time about stuff. 18-year-old girl, we're gonna fight. You know, and Adam commented that most of the people from Madison are from South Jackson. A generation ago, I would, yeah, you would be correct. Now, like a generation of 20-year-olds and younger, they ain't from South Jackson. Their parents may be.
Yeah.
So, ain't nobody migrated from South Jackson to Madison in a long time. We've missed the generation there. They're, you know, folks, if you moving up out of South Jackson, I'm talking about the core South Jackson, the McDowell Road corridor area. Mm-hmm. You know, you ain't going from there to Madison. There's a stepping stone. You got to work your way up. You know, you're maybe getting out to Meadowbrook, then maybe the county line, then to Ridgeland, then you might get to work your way to Madison. You ain't going from a $500 a month McDowell Road house to a $2,000 a month Madison house in one fell swoop. Mm-hmm. I mean, I ain't saying it's impossible. Don't get me wrong, but I ain't seen too many folks move from South Jackson to Madison in about 20 years.
Justin says, so what needs to be done in Jackson? It's always been my goal to come back and help out in my old stomping grounds, Verdon Edition. But what exactly can you do to combat everything? I think that's what everybody's trying to figure out.
And quit voting for stupid people.
Yeah, I mean
it's got to start there. If you don't, here's the problem.
That's the start.
You can live. I understand not living in Jackson and not having a say so in the politics, but yeah, there's stuff you can do. And get into a mentor program. I don't know. I mean, do a little research on it. The Jackson right now has a fundamental issue of the leaders do not like the police. It is a civil war going on inside the city leadership. Mm-hmm. the mayor's office. Look at
Police department.
Look at the family background, and the Republic of New Africa, and JPD. They have a history that includes dead officers. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not breaking any news here. There is a core issue with the leadership and the police department in the city. And I want to read a comment here. I hate reading fake names. Miss Jules, just sitting here complaining about judging won't do anything either. And being intolerant of others' opinions definitely won't help. I don't believe I'm judging or being intolerant. I'm stating facts. Jackson's got problems, and it starts with everything that I mentioned previously. Being intolerant, look, enlighten me. Those are.
What should we be tolerant of?
I mean, I think we're at 104 homicides. We've been pretty damn tolerant.
Yeah.
You know,
our kids ride these roads every day, and just be tolerant.
Yeah. Well, tolerant of what? Stupid. I mean, I've been tolerant for 43 years here. You know, I am the minority here. Extreme minority. There's only about 5% of me in this city. So, and if you add my political beliefs, it's probably about 0.5%. Mm-hmm. I would say 0.5% of Jackson are conservative white males. You know, so I've been pretty damn tolerant, you know. So I don't understand what intolerant is. That's just fancy liberal buzzwords that really have no meaning to this conversation at all. It's like, oh, no, there's a white guy saying something about Jackson. He's being intolerant.
It's like saying racist or...
He's judging. I'm not judging. I'm laying out facts. Math don't lie. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. I mean, I'm not being intolerant. I'm being truthful. And I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I sit here.
He responded. He said, "What you said wasn't hard to understand. It was just overlooked, and I know why."
That makes. I again don't understand that.
Being very vague.
You know, maybe I missed. Give the benefit of the doubt here. Okay, I see they're replying to somebody else. So, okay. It sounded vague. All right. Tony, you're welcome to have a sit down with me, brother. We can have a sit down. I will sit down and talk with anybody that wants to sit down and talk and have a rational conversation. And it does not start with any iota of systemic racism or blaming anything on Orange Man bad. I'm way past that point. That's just a boogeyman that doesn't exist in my world. So anybody that wants to have a conversation about anything going on in Jackson and is ready to put the onus on the people that belongs on, these local politicians and 25 years of liberal leadership in the city, I'm all ears. Anything, blame it on a state level or national level or president or white flight or Donald Trump. I ain't hearing it. Not open for conversation on this platform. In real life or on the internet. You know, gotta find another boogeyman. Because that's not going to be it. And I'm not saying that's what you're talking about, Tony, but just for 100% clarification for anybody that ever wants to sit down and talk, I will gladly sit down and we can have a conversation about any of this stuff. But those are disqualifiers for me.
BJ says city leadership has shown what they have had to offer for decades. It's no secret what the problems are, and it starts with policy.
Yes, I mean, it's why, you know, I said this a while back, and a few people thought I was just they said some really interesting things to me. We'll just say that. Urban flight began in this city really about 30 years ago, but definitely around 25 when full swing into what was the last white mayor, the Democrat, was it Danks or
Dale?
Was it Dale Danks? He was a white Democrat right before Johnson. That's when the flight began out of here. It had nothing to do with race. Conservatives don't want to live in liberal cities. They do not want to live under liberal politics. They want school choice. They want good schools. They do not want to live in a welfare heavy area. And Democrats have shown that they rule with a very liberal fist.
Yeah.
I mean, look now, for instance, at what Democrat mayors across the state are doing versus conservative mayors. Still tons of COVID restrictions, mask requirements, all of this other stuff. Anytime crime gets bad, they just pull up some racial boogeyman and they blame it on that. And Andrew Jackson's statue is a good example. Things started looking really bad for the city. It had 2 out of 3 months were record-tying murder months. April and July. What you know what else they did in July? They announced that Andrew Jackson was coming down. Or maybe it was in early August after that. So, guess who's still up? Andrew Jackson. Threw a big hissy fit about it. Oh, we're taking it down. We're eliminating racism. Andrew's still there. Ain't come down. I don't care if Andrew stays, goes, doesn't affect me one way or another. I don't care. But it's just every time that anything bad starts happening in this town, that is clearly at the footsteps of City Hall, other than the actual statue that's at the footsteps, but the crime due to terrible policy, it's what's left that we can blame on racism. You know, there that statue, that flag, this, that, all of that, it's gone, and we just had a record murder year, and we still got 2.5 months to go. I don't get it. I mean, why do we constantly have to deflect what's really going on?
That's what they're doing. They're deflecting.
Exactly. It's just deflect. Make excuse. Tell somebody it's not your fault you're a screw up. It's not your... It's systemic racism is why you made a bad decision.
So much easier to be able to blame it on somebody or something else.
Yeah.
Tony said, I would like to do a collaboration with you and Take Action America.
Let's do it, Tony. I like Tony. I've met Tony and well, actually, Tony's got a guy he does some stuff with. I met the other guy, but me and Tony have been talking. I've told Tony anytime he wants to do anything, just let me know. I'm not just talking. We get out and do stuff. I think because y'all see us so much on social media.
Because we're at home.
Yeah, that you don't think that we do stuff in the streets. We do stuff. I have a thing about not liking to brag about good deeds. It rubs me the wrong way when people do good stuff and they brag about it online. And
put it on
Facebook.
Camera.
Yeah, especially like if you roll up to a homeless dude and you pull your camera out and be like, watch me give this homeless guy $5. I don't like that. You know? So I think there's this misconception that, yes, I enjoy being on social media. I enjoy doing this stuff. I wouldn't do it if I didn't. But what I don't enjoy is people who do this for the sole purpose of saying, look at how good of a person I am.
Look at me. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do stuff. I can screen. I'm not going to do it, but theoretically I could. If I ever see any of y'all in person, I'll gladly pull it up and show you. I'm just not going to put it on the internet. But I can show you, I can pull up my PayPal and Cash App and show you the donations that we've made locally to people in need and families in need. I look at things a very individual, case-by-case basis for me. But we try to bring attention to stuff. We had Benny Ivy with Strong Arms of Jackson on here the other day. All ears trying to help those guys. You know, this platform is still in its infancy. Every week we're learning what we are and what we can do. I mean, y'all got to think about it. we're still, you know, for the most part, two white folks over here in South Jackson, you know, that don't get invited to a lot of events and stuff. You know, people can talk about everything all the time. And every time I accidentally flip it on WNPR 90.1, whatever, and I just hear a lot of people who are in charge of the city still blaming white folks for all of its problems. You know, it's hard to get excited about wanting to help. Mm-hmm. You know, or knowing where to look to help. And I think that's what a lot of people ask on here all the time is like, where do I help? There's a lot of people that want to help.
Yeah, they just don't know where to start.
And, you know, and then you got a bunch of crooks and scandalous thieves running charities and churches around here that when you give them money, you're just giving them money. You know, it's not going to places it needs to. Now, I'm not going to put her name out there, you know, until I get her permission to put her name out there. There's a lady I see every day. She is boots on ground, and we're going to be working with her. Excuse me. She's from the subs or the Queens, one or the other. And I know there's fighting words to confuse the two. But, and, you know, and she's a mail lady here in the town. I mean, she is boots on ground. There's a couple women that I know, and these are the people I try to work with. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not on social media doing backstands and stunts and all this other crazy stuff. They're people really doing real work. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that we like to try to help out. You know, some of these big name organizations and some of these big rallies that folks do where they all just pat each other on the back and pretend they did something. Mm-hmm. You can miss us with that. We ain't doing that.
Adam says Jackson needs David Archie
to leave.
Yeah, for sure.
To leave
and not let the door hit him, or the good Lord split him
on his gut bucket.
I was like, what? He says David Archie for mayor.
I heard Napoleon playing some clip from Wanda Evers' show yesterday or today. I heard him play it tonight, and Archie had called in or was in there, and I was grilling tonight, and I missed a second or two of it. Did Archie say he was running for mayor, or was he talking about Wanda running for mayor? Look, Miss Wanda's always been really nice to me. I'm not going to say anything bad about that lady. I don't know that's going to be. There's not a single person running for mayor that's announced right now that I can get excited about. I'm just going to say that. Now, there's been a petition started in our Facebook group for me to run for mayor.
Right.
Look, y'all know it's something that we've joked about since we started this page, me running for mayor. Look, I'm a realist. And unfortunately, I would never run as a Democrat, and I would never run third party. I am a red-blooded conservative Republican. Mm-hmm. A red-blooded conservative Republican is never going to win anything in Jackson, Mississippi. I would rather be honest with y'all and not run as something that I think is a lie, because I hate that. I hate politicians who shift into the gray,
change their party
to try to win. I would rather you go down with the Titanic being who you are and being 100 to yourself than to try to shift into the gray or parties altogether to have a better chance of winning. We ain't going to do that. We ain't going to do that here.
Somebody said, Clay, who's worse, Kenneth Stokes or David Archie?
Ugh. Dexter. Dexter is one of my favorite followers of this page. And I hate using the word follower, you know, but somebody who likes this page and comments, Dexter's great. He's in the group too. One of the top stars in our Jackson Uncensored group. Man, you know, I'll be honest. I'd never heard of David Archie. I guess I'd heard the name. Mm-hmm. But until that night that he got out there in front of JPD with the whole gut bucket, no stuff with Napoleon.
Yeah.
I had never heard David Archie's name and thought much more of it than anything. Same with Kelsey Johnson and all that. Just
who's Banks?
Aaron Banks is our councilman over here.
Mm-hmm. Somebody saying Banks for mayor.
Banks is the councilman in South Jackson. Mm-hmm. He needs to show me one thing he's done in South Jackson, other than have a press conference in front of Casa Grande asking preachers to raise money to tear it down. And I don't want to hear about a road getting paved. Old road getting paved ain't doing any. You're supposed to do that.
These roads are.
They paved McDowell Road.
Oh my gosh.
You forced to do that. That's part of that's a prerequisite for having your current job. Name one new business that's been lured to South Jackson since Banks has become, and this ain't a knock on him personally.
Right.
But name one thing that's come to South Jackson since Banks has been councilman. I'll wait. I can name 10 things that have left.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll start with the Waffle House on McDowell Road that they couldn't keep shootings from happening inside of. This is right on the interstate. That should be easy to post up a cop or two at that interstate exit. Hey, this is a high crime exit. Mm-hmm. We should probably focus on law enforcement here. Let's just put a little substation here. Mm-hmm. Hinds County Sheriff's Department used to have little substations everywhere.
Right.
You know, Wendell Steakhouse, it may still be, but forever it was a substation for Hinds County Sheriff's Department. You know, they kind of hung out there centrally located, you know.
Mm-hmm. Dexter said Banks was talking about NASCAR a few years back. LOL.
That's who that was. Thank you for the reminder. That pipe dream. Look, I'm a NASCAR guy. I'm a car racing enthusiast. I love all kinds. NASCAR being one of them. Drag racing, love it. Jackson has a big problem with not wanting to take baby steps to do anything. It was the same thing about when they talked about putting a domed stadium for JSU. You want to go straight from putting 10,000, 20,000 people in a 60,000 square capacity stadium to having a 60-something thousand dome stadium in Jackson. First off, Jackson, for the most part, has beautiful weather, other than when it's too hot to do anything. You don't need a dome stadium here. And then you talk about bringing NASCAR to town. To say you're going straight to NASCAR, if you're not a NASCAR fan, to say you're going straight from nothing to NASCAR would be like saying that Jackson is getting an NFL team. A NASCAR track is a massive, massive undertaking. It is bigger than any dome or football stadium that you could possibly build. Even the smallest NASCAR track, like I think Martinsville and Bristol, Bristol holds almost 150,000 people, and it's a half-mile oval. So, and and then Martinsville is a little shorter than that, or something along those lines. Maybe Bristol's a mile. Anyway, I can't remember, but 100,000 people is the smallest NASCAR track. Just the sheer size of that project, and it wasn't going to fit where they were talking about doing. I don't know, man. I know one of the guys that was loosely involved in that, and he's somebody I like and respect a lot, and he stood to make some money if it went down, so I understood his hustle. But Jackson wasn't getting the NASCAR track. It wasn't happening. And they said, well, we're going to start with a dragster. They just like to sell the pipe dream and try to push it back down the funnel to the drip. But you never, the pipe dream never happens. And they get everybody's hopes up for this mega resort nonsense like David Watkins did downtown when they were talking about trying to turn downtown Jackson into, do a river walk like San Antonio. Swear to God, if I'm lying, I'm dying. We were looking at opening a bar on Ferris Street, me and Chip Matthews, about 12, 13 years ago. And we met with David Watkins. His office was in the train station there, where the Amtraks are. And David was always nice to me. Again, this is not a personal indictment. But when all that stuff came out about him getting his hustle on, I just always thought back to this dude tried to tell me they were going to start ripping up Jackson streets and make it a river walk like San Antonio. Like I was just supposed to sit there and be the chump that believed that nonsense. And if there's one thing that makes me madder than anything in this world is people looking at me like this idiot will believe anything I tell him. Nothing makes me madder than you lying to me and thinking I'm stupid enough to believe it. Yeah, Adam, NASCAR don't get 100,000 at races anymore anyway. But theoretically speaking, that's the size of their stadiums. Yeah, he was talking about David Watkins did talk about putting a water park in the Metro Center. My understanding is it's a water park inside the Metro Center right now with a big busted pipe, according to Metro Mama. We kind of roll back through these comments here for just a second here. Crystal had to get up for a second. Hey, I want to talk about something else real quick. And I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I do. I really do. Been a couple days since we've done a show. I mean, a real proper show. Let's talk about this homeless stuff in Jackson. Speaking of David Archie and all that. Because I've got some opinions on it. And I don't know that they're that... If you believe what everybody's on social media being preachy about, you would think that everybody just loved homeless people and just wanted them to be able to stay on the streets. And I'm just calling some of y'all out on it. I don't believe y'all. I do not believe all y'all do-gooders really want these homeless people to be able to stay on the street and panhandle. Now, I do not like the way David Archie and them went and did that. And I definitely didn't like the disrespect when Kelsey told the guy, don't talk back to the supervisor. Mm-hmm. You know, I do believe in treating people like human beings and having some respect. But I'm out on this panhandling stuff. Freedom of speech, my ass. And the ACLU getting involved and the mayor getting involved and saying that we're going to take the panhandling law off the books. Man, I know business owners up and down that 55 corridor. They don't want to come out and publicly say anything because they don't want to get roasted, as bad people. But none of them support this. You think those shopping centers like Highland Village and DeVille Plaza and all that, and Kroger there, you think they want panhandlers rolling around harassing their customers?
Adam says they don't need to be picked on when they're down.
Man, most of them people put themselves down. That's the elephant in the room that people don't want to talk about. Look, I donate. Okay, I'm going to pat myself on the back here. I donate money to people who feed homeless. I have a soft spot in my heart for homeless folks. Mm-hmm. It's a bad situation. I hate it. Everybody that's homeless is not there because of their own doings. Some of it, they lost their job and it just rolled downhill and went to hell from there.
Yeah.
Bad circumstances. That maybe they had conditions and the family member that took care of them passed away. I get it. But that is a small percentage overall. Mm-hmm. Most of them folks are drug addicts and they don't want help. That 3-6 Mafia song, Don't Save Her, or is it Project Pat? Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. That's most of these homeless folks in Jackson. They do not want to be saved. They want to be left alone so they can get high and borrow money. I get it. We all have this fantasy that these homeless people, we've watched too many damn Lifetime movies. All of these homeless people ain't downtrodden because they lost their job at the big factory and whatever happened. They downtrodden because they banging dope and selling their vajayjay. It's just they ain't all good people is what I'm trying to tell you. They don't need to be banging on people's windows at red lights and stuff. There needs to be some medium there. Same people that say that are the same ones that think every building is supposed to be turned into a homeless shelter. Turned into a homeless shelter. Man, if I hear that about the Metro Center, who's supposed to pay for it? Have you driven around the Metro Center lately? They can't figure out who's supposed to pay for the potholes so big that you can't drive between the Crystals and the Arby's that connect. You basically have to jump a curb from parking lot to parking lot to get from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about turn the metro into a homeless shelter.
I agree with John Stringer. He says homeless is mostly untreated mental illness, and I agree with that.
Yeah, a lot of it is, and a lot of it is.
But you can't make somebody get treatment.
But you can't also allow that person to continue to run rampant up and down a major interstate area like the frontage road in Jackson or the county line road exit and harass everybody like it's a job. They can get their shit together enough to go stand at that same intersection every day with their cup and they're asking for money. They can figure out something to do. I mean, they work that like it's a shift. I know that mental health is an issue in this area, and I know that there's not enough homeless shelters, and I know all that stuff. But a lot of these folks ain't nowhere near those places, and they don't want the help. They want to continue. It's not a mental health issue as much as it is a drug issue. And I know that ain't everybody. I'm not painting with a broad brush. I get that every situation is differently, but for the most part, in my experience, it isn't just mental health and downtrodden folks out there with a Bible in one hand and a change cup in the other. That ain't what's going on. Get out there, boots on ground, outside of the shelters. I feel like a lot of the people who say these things only run down to the shelter. And look, God bless you. There's not enough of you that go and help and stuff. So I don't want to sound like I'm knocking you. But get out and go to these underpasses and stuff where they're living at. Did you know that there's a homeless city behind the Petro gas station at the Gallatin Street exit right there next to Canon Nissan? Right behind there, between there and the river, there's a homeless city. You don't want to see what's back there. This ain't the homeless guy that you take care of, that puts your car tag on for you down at City Hall. It's a whole nother world down there. It's like Skid Row. So understand that you can't just open this wide. You can't sit there and say that being a panhandler is freedom of speech. It's not. That dumbfounded at that. And I know that it is an unpopular opinion that I'm supposed to say what everybody else says and just say, no.
Well, a lot of people are saying addiction is a disease, which I believe. But,
another thing that I have an unpopular opinion on, addiction is not a disease. Cancer is a disease. AIDS is a disease. And I can make an argument about AIDS. That's, for the most part, self-inflicted as well. For the most part.
Okay.
Addiction is an issue, but when you call addiction a disease, I think it is a slap in the face to people who woke up and had cancer or something like that without ever making a bad health choice in their life. That's a disease. Addiction is a choice.
I think it is to a certain point.
Now it can devolve into a disease, a self-inflicted disease.
Yeah.
But you don't wake up an addict one day. My goodness.
Well, I don't think anybody.
I'm an addict today.
I don't think anybody ever plans on being an addict either, though.
No, but you know what takes you down that road.
Well, I think everybody thinks they have control.
Sure, but at the end of the day, you know what turns you into an addict. Drugs eventually will turn you into an addict. You may be a manageable addict. Have a manageable addiction. And that's fine. I mean, we all have something where we probably don't need to do that we manage well enough to still function in life.
Yeah.
But true addiction, I'm sorry, it's not. You can call it a disease. They can call it a disease. I know that it's been called a disease.
Well, I've lost many family members to it.
I understand, and it sucks. You know, addiction is a killer.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's more than addiction. It brings depression. It brings all kind of things that just are debilitating.
Yep.
To people. So.
Yeah, you know, it's an illness, not a disease.
Yeah, I agree. It's a mental illness.
Yeah, you know, it's an illness, not a disease. And somewhere somebody got somebody to call it that under, and so insurance would pay for stuff.
And
that is why.
Yeah.
That it goes back to money. Follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
Addiction is called a disease because some lawmaker figured out a way that it had to be called disease, so insurance would pay for it. Mm-hmm. People tell me I get in this argument on Facebook about once a year, the addiction disease or not argument, and people are like, well, you know, since you know everything, the doctor said, Dr. So-and-so, well, Dr. So-and-so benefits by writing you prescriptions, by getting paid by insurance. Mm-hmm. Being a doctor I'm a car salesman. I don't want to sit here and tell you I know everything, but I know that the more stuff that I can talk you into buying for that car, like accessories, extended warranties, all this other stuff, the more money I make. Mm-hmm. You know, the more stuff a doctor can tell you is wrong with you, the more they can get, the more x-rays they can get you to take, the more CAT scans, the more shots they can give you, the more they can charge that insurance company. Mm-hmm. You know, if they know you're paying cash, they don't offer you all them add-ons. You know, if I walk in and they know I don't have insurance, they're not. Is anything else wrong with you, Clay? Anything? Have you had any more problems? Is your back hurting? You know, how's your stomach feeling? You know, you don't get all them. You don't get all that. I'm being a little facetious. There are some really good doctors out there, but at the end of the day,
BJ says pharmaceutical prescribed drugs cause their fair share of addicts also.
Say that again.
BJ said, pharmaceutical prescribed drugs causes their fair share of addicts as well. Yeah.
BJ, it's a great point. Hey, look, I wear
It normally starts that way, BJ.
Sure. Look, I wear a lot of the things I say, I went through personally. I don't just blindly say a lot of this stuff. I was addicted to pain pills. After I hurt my back in a car wreck, I went through years of a pain pill addiction, and then I had my diverticulitis from my colon ruptured. And about the time I beat that addiction, I got to get right back on them to go through 2 major stomach surgeries inside of 3 months. Look, it sucks, and it really does. But I know that my addiction to pain pills was not a disease. Mm-hmm. Now, the pain pills could cause a disease through liver issues and, you know, cirrhosis and other things. Sure, but the actual addiction, in my opinion, is not a disease. Yeah. A disease, in my opinion, is something you wake up with one day and had you did nothing to bring on.
Well, you can you can drink your coffee with sweet and low every day, which has aspartame in it. Yeah. Which supposedly helps cause cancer.
Well, lung cancer.
Would you say
lung cancer from smoking? It's
Would you say that's self-inflicted?
Yes. Okay. It's absolutely self-inflicted. Okay. You know, I don't think
doesn't make it any less real.
No, it's real for the person dealing with it, but a lot of people use it as an excuse. Sticking with addiction. Mm-hmm. Addiction is a mental switch. It is not a disease. Right. You know, you made a choice. You knew what you were doing. Mm-hmm. Had consequences and potential negative repercussions. If you chose to continue going down that path, and you just become addicted, just being addicted to something is not a disease.
I agree. I just think at some point it's not even a choice anymore.
It's always a choice. Always a choice. Too many people overcome it for it to not be a choice. It is overcomable.
Too many people don't.
You have to commit.
Too many people don't.
Anything worth having is worth fighting for.
I'm just saying.
So we'll agree to sort of disagree. You agree, but you don't. So again, these are just our opinions. It's a conversation I had no intentions on having tonight, but I'm glad we did. Very, very good talk here. We're an hour and 15 minutes in. So we're going to start landing this plane. It's almost 11 o'clock. I got to be at work in the morning. I was going to talk about the zoo and some other stuff, so let me just hit that real quick. More zoo drama. The mayor is urging the Zooquarium people to hurry up and sign the lease. So apparently they have not done that yet. Their agreement, whatever. So the zoo is in limbo of some sort. Here's something good. Well, it's not good, but this is us trying to do something good. Trying to help. The Manship restaurant has a waitress named Miss Dot. If y'all know one thing about me and Crystal and this platform is we support the service industry any way we can.
For sure.
So I'm going to click on this GoFundMe here for Miss Dot. It's raised $3,456. Her house burned down. She lost everything. So $3,400 sounds like a lot of money. $3,400 is not a lot of money. $3,400 is a lot of money at the shopping mall. It is not a lot of money
when you've lost everything.
When you've lost everything. Let me pull this up real quick, and I'm going to share this link. And if y'all can find it in your hearts to help Miss Dot with the Manship, and I know that crew over there at the Manship, they are great people. As much hell as I give Jackson, the service industry always gets a pass from me, no matter what. And love the Manship. Love Steven and his crew over there, great people. While I'm posting that, I did today, man. I don't know if y'all saw my video. I got to tour the old federal building, old federal courthouse and post office down across the street from the governor's mansion on Capitol Street. Again, super cool. They're turning that into lofts and a bar and man, all kind of stuff. I can't even begin to explain everything it's going to be. They're putting like a food hall, like what's out there at Cultivation Food Hall at Eastover.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting one of that on the first floor there where the post office was. It's going to have like 5 or 6 different vendors in there. I just posted that GoFundMe. So, I mean, I'm working on a video with everything tonight. I'll try to get it posted tomorrow at some point. But go to WALTHALLLOFTS.com and just check them out. This is not a paid promotion or anything like that. This is just me doing what y'all say I don't do and spreading good news about Jackson. So, go check out WALTHALLLOFTS.com. Super cool. The old federal courthouse is a once-in-a-lifetime type development for the city. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of development that it's going to take to reinvigorate Jackson. One block at a time, one street at a time, brick by brick is the only way you're really going to ever fix this. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing along Capitol Street is a damn good start. It really is. You know, I told them my opinion on what's really got to happen down there, and they didn't necessarily disagree with me. I won't share that here. I'll save it for another time. It's way too complicated to share in 5 seconds. Let me see what else. Man, we hit everything tonight. We went to the fair last night. You can watch our video. It's still up. I was well oiled by the time we got home, by about midnight last night after we got home. So I had a good time at the fair. Highly recommend it. They're doing a great job with the ride cleaning, the sanitation. Mm-hmm. It was as clean. I'm gonna tell you, it was as clean as I've seen the fair in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Since we were little kids. We
talked to Mike Lassiter, the fair director, for a while. Man, they have gone above and beyond. I mean, to the point of it being a detriment to the turnout. Mm-hmm. And to what they're able to do. But they wanted to have the fair. They were not going to let the Corona Bros shut down the fair. And it may have made more sense financially to not have opened it. So if you have been fighting the good fight against the Corona Bros and the shutdown mafia, I recommend going down to the fair because they are on our team and they have been fighting it. And they got vendors down there that are private vendors, local vendors. Support them. These are our people. You know, you may not want to come to Jackson and support some businesses in Jackson because you don't know the area, you don't know the business owners, you don't know what their politics are, whatever. You get way too bogged down and all that. Get down to the fair, support those folks. The Highway Patrol and the Capital City Police.
Sheriff's Department was there too?
Well, yeah, Sheriff's Department, JPD. It is all hands on deck. I've never seen the Highway Patrol working the inside of the fair before. So, they ain't playing, is all I'm saying. Yeah. What did Donald Trump say about Iran on the other day on Rush Limbaugh?
Don't say it.
F around and find out.
Yeah.
Highway Patrol in there just wishing somebody would. I forgot cops were that swole. I mean, that one dude was about to bust out of his. I felt like I needed to get back in the gym today and just start doing some curls. When I saw that dude, I'm like, man, I got emasculated. All right, look, I'm gonna land it here. Be sure to check out USA Pawn, all 6 of their Central Mississippi locations, and of course you can shop online at usapawn.com. They've always got ammo, they've always got guns, pawn deals, interest rate deals, jewelry, gold, flat screens, games, the whole 9 yards. usapawn.com, locally owned. Check out the gym at Byram. If you want to go get swole, if you need to lose some weight, check out the gym at Byram.com. And if you need your yard did, manicured, taken care of, check out Danny White and his crew over at Father and Son Southern Lawncare. You can reach them at 601-301-3210 and download the Save Jackson podcast. It is available on all major podcast networks. And, of course, we will be back on WYAB 103.9 this Saturday morning at 11 a.m. We will have that show ready here. And, man, that's it. I think we got it all out. If I offended you, good. I'm kidding.
If you didn't, good.
If I didn't, good. You know, you can't get anywhere if you only listen to people you agree with. You got to know that there's different opinions out there. I mean, you can ask Crystal. I watch probably 3-4 hours of YouTube a day. And it's all different opinions.
Well, I mean, you don't agree on everything.
We don't agree on everything. Listen to different opinions. Just because I have an opinion doesn't mean it can't be changed. And it doesn't mean that I just know I'm right. I'm just saying
sometimes we're just going to disagree.
Yeah, and y'all can disagree with me, and I'm going to disagree with y'all. Because we're still friends. We're still Mississippians. We're on the Titanic together.
Right.
We might as well like each other. We riding to the bottom of the ocean together. 2020, y'all.
Exactly.
Bye. Good night, everybody.